We'll keep you anonymous.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
Anonymous. Welcome to Court Captains, a volleyball podcast.
Where we talk all things Pro Volleyball Federation.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Nikki,
I'm Ian.
and today we're talking Season 2 preview.
Woohoo.
Yes. It's close.
It's coming. For today's episode, we're going to talk about what has happened since the draft. So we'll give you some updates there if you need a refresher. And then for our Season 2 preview, we are going to start out with our picks to click. So if you're checking out this league for the first time, or if you're coming back and you want to know who are the players to watch, we'll give you our top 2 players for each position across the league and why we like them. Then we're going to talk about a couple of topics that we think are most fascinating. Firstly, who is making $175,000 on each of these teams?
Yeah, let's speculate.
Pocket
Let's-
watching segment.
Let's start rumors.
Rumors, gossip, based purely on our brains of who we think is making the big bucks. We'll have a chat about the rookies, who we're excited about, who we think could make a big impact. What are our biggest question marks for some of these teams' rosters? Who are people we think could make a big impact, but they're new and we don't know? Or something that we're really excited to see in the first week. And then at the end, we'll predict who we think the top 4 teams are going to be by the end of the season. Who we think will make the playoffs, but I don't think they've confirmed if that's the system this year. But it was last year, so we're going to say who we think top 4 are. So what happened since the draft? A cool thing that happened is that we saw, either through the transactions page or through Instagram, that of the 40 athletes who were drafted in the 2024 PVF draft, 38 of those draftees showed up at preseason camp. So either signed a contract for the full year or signed a contract for preseason, opted in to play. So we're really excited to see all of those women get an opportunity to play. It seems like a lot of them are making the teams also, but we want to wait until week 1 match play actually starts and these rosters are like 100% final before we give the final numbers on that.
Has Atlanta cut anyone yet?
Yeah, Atlanta cut 4 people in
Okay.
December. They need to cut more.
Oh my gosh.
I think that the only thing I wanted to mention with like the league's transactions page, first of all, after months of no activity and signings being announced on Instagram, the league finally started updating their transactions page.
Which I have a gripe about
Oh, tell us.
as someone who works in data. What are we doing with this mismatched business? Sometimes things are in all caps, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they separate your college and pro teams by a slash, as indicated in the header, and then sometimes they don't. And it's very confusing and doesn't look good. Just hire one woman in tech. Just one. Okay, rant over.
Thank
Continue.
you, Kelly. Thank you. Okay, so the main thing I want to talk about here,
Yeah.
my gripe personally, and
Okay.
I've talked about this before. It's not visual, Kelly. It's more existential.
Material that pertains to what the podcast.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
okay
okay.
though. No, your stuff is good for the podcast
Okay,
too.
good. Thanks.
Here's my problem. I think I've talked about this before, but I just want to reiterate it. I want to know, and I don't know that we'll ever know for sure, but I want to know the kinds of conversations these coaches are having with players when they invite them to play. And I want to know if 100% of those conversations are, welcome to the PVF. You're playing pro in the United States. Aren't you happy? Have a party. Or are they saying, I'm inviting 20 people to play. I would love you to come to preseason 6 months from now, right? Back when we were seeing in July, all of these players get signed. And I was like, wow, that's 14. And we're going to have a draft. Or in Atlanta's case, that's 19. And you're going to draft more players. There are women who were signed in July and were waived in early January. And I just think about like, did they put all their career on hold? Could they have gone and played with another club abroad? They probably had a handful of years of pro under their belt already. They moved here or moved to the market where they were going to play pro. And what did they do for 6 months? And then they got waived after however many weeks of preseason. Like, I think that it's natural and it's something that happens in pro sports. We've talked about the quote unquote job security of playing for League One and that they don't cut anybody and they don't waive anyone. And I understand that perspective. I think maybe I fall a little bit in the middle of like waiving makes some sense. You want the best possible team that you can. Someone might show up and not be performing at the level you thought that they were. Fine, okay. But if those coaches aren't being honest and aren't saying, I'm inviting you to camp, it just feels like a bad job offer to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. Like, would we know? Are people going to start commenting? Are these players going to come out and be like, I thought I was going to play?
Email us, players.
Yeah, sure. Great.
Yeah, I want to know how it is.
I would hope those coaches are not doing that.
Aspirationally, the PVF seems more open to like a prospective pro player that might be on the cusp of making a team. Is like if all these other leagues, their rosters are set, there's no chance of you joining that league. I could see that obviously being nice for some players, but yeah, it's a precarious way to live or to work for a paycheck.
You
And I
know,
think, like Kelly was saying earlier, at this level, when as we talked about with the draft episode, like we think a lot of these things are being talked about before you're drafting a player. There's relationship building in all sports, but it would seem like in a league like this, that's even more important if you're getting someone to give up those other opportunities to come for this, new thing that's not guaranteed, that yeah, you would want to do good by them.
I would assume that all of these players who hopefully they have agents and the agents are directing them and saying nothing's a done deal until you have signed something with a salary.
on the topic of contracts, speculation, etc., who do we think is making $175,000? I'd like to jump ahead to that because it's on topic.
And it's a fun thing to look at
Okay, let's
and
start with
consider.
Atlanta. Let's say it all together. One, two, three. Leah
Leah
Edmond.
Edmonds.
Okay, so not to be annoying or pedantic, because we don't know.
I don't know.
But earlier, again, may or may not keep this, but earlier we talked about like people were signing with the league.
Yep. The first
Do we
contract
think
that was
anyone
signed.
was like, yeah, we're giving you this much money. We just don't know which team's gonna pay it to you yet?
Interesting.
Whoa.
Like, because then I have no idea. Like, if
No,
the league was like, no, we really want you to stay in the league, we'll give you this 175K contract.
I think the carrot for the league contract was guarantees. So
Mm,
Amy
hmm.
Pauley went on Twitter, said the wrong thing. But like the Orlando ex-president misinformed her, is what we heard. But initially she comes out and she says there's guaranteed contracts. Woohoo. And then she went, I'm just kidding, actually. That's not true.
My bad.
But certain players did sign guaranteed contracts with the league. So I think that was the carrot that was given in that phase of contract evaluation. I
Honestly,
still
shouts to
think they
Amy
left the
Polly for
teams
like even bothering to clarify.
for even bothering to clarify, for saying anything to anyone in the first place,
Well,
for giving the transparency when people were so excited to learn more. I mean, like, we appreciate it either way. But no, what I think happened was I feel as though there were some players, and actually even some players who the league didn't necessarily think would for sure make a team. Like, we have it on source that some players have guaranteed contracts who signed extensions with the league first, who didn't get signed this year. So, and the player in mind I'm thinking of, like, was an original person with the PVF, like, was a player coordinator and tried to help find other people. What we do know is that some players of varying performances from last year signed guaranteed extensions with the league. And I think still that it seems most likely to me that teams would have been able to decide who made what salary slot. It's possible Leah Edmond got a guaranteed contract with the league to like show how much they appreciated her, but I still think Atlanta put her in the 175 slot because how could you not?
I mean, or Morgan Hens.
Or Morgan Hens. You're right. Those are the
That's
two. 120
definitely
for a libero, I don't think is bad though.
no. And they're like leaning heavily on her in promotional things
Mm-hmm.
from what I've seen. So
Because
that,
she's the first
yeah,
Olympic sweetheart. Not official, but she was on the
yeah. So that is
broader
kind of
squad.
what makes me feel like it could be her. But
Yep.
agreed, those are the two options.
Okay, Columbus. Who you think?
Okay, this is difficult because it can't be Tori Springer, right?
But could it be? Could Angel have said, "Come over to Columbus. I'll give all of my good draft picks away, and I'll give you the best salary next year." Because she took a pay cut to play there the rest of last season. Because
Yeah.
we think she
Yeah.
was a franchise player in Atlanta,
Hmm.
making 100. And so when she left and went to Columbus, she went back down to 60.
Yeah. Or Megan Courtney Lush.
Or, by the way, I heard she's dropping the Courtney this year.
Oh, okay.
So
Megan
Megan
Lush.
Lush. I think it could be Megan Lush. I've seen her do just so much press for
Okay.
them.
Okay.
But
That's a
I was
good
between,
indication.
it is. I was between Megan and Tori.
Yeah. I don't think it's Jill.
I don't think so either. Okay, let's guess for Grand Rapids. Let's speculate. I have to tell you, I looked at that roster. I had no idea.
Oof.
Does anyone jump out to you? I thought maybe Carly Snyder, the new outside, to pull her from abroad.
Okay.
I
It
also
is kind of,
thought,
it's hard with the new people because I'm like, I've never seen you play. I have no
I
idea.
know.
Yeah.
I also thought Sheridan Atkinson for that reason.
Mm. Okay.
But other than that, no one jumped out at me.
No, I agree.
So it could be the newbies.
Yep. I think that's probably the best we can do. Best we can speculate is that.
Indy. Oh, wait. I know you're going to get down and you're going to find it
Yeah.
toward the bottom.
Sydney.
Get there.
Sydney
It's
Hilly.
Sydney. It's Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She also lost her starting spot like mid-season last year, and then she
Mm-hmm.
got it back. So I
Yeah.
remember toward the end of the season feeling like she knew her hitters better. She was really accurate. She was getting good blocks, and I remember liking her defense too.
Yeah. All right. But didn't she get like she got like MVP or best setter or something at the
Of
end of
the MVP of the playoffs.
yeah. So that could get you a 175 paycheck.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Omaha. Should we say that one all together as well? One, two, three.
Brooke
Brooke Nanover.
Nanover.
Yeah. I was like, quickly.
That one, the reason why it's so obvious is because of last year, you know? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
returner
Yeah.
and motivating
Yeah.
someone to come back
Yeah.
who had a good year. That's
Yeah.
why I think so
Yeah.
many. I mean, we've said all Atlanta, Columbus, Omaha, all feel like that same vein of returners who did
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Orlando?
I bet it's Brittany Abercrombie.
That's fair. However, she won Athletes Unlimited well after she signed.
I know, but didn't they get her from overseas? Like, wasn't she playing overseas before?
She played abroad in Poland, Germany, Puerto Rico, Turkey, most recently in Korea.
Mm. I
So
mean,
she's been all over the place.
yeah. I mean, who else?
My only other thought was Kaz Brown.
Okay.
Same
Okay.
camp of motivate the returner to come back. Did a
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you're right. That was Brittany was another option.
Yeah.
San Diego?
Ronica, I guess.
Yeah, I thought Ronica.
That's hard.
So
Um,
Shara Venegas, I think is up there. I've seen
mm,
her and Ronica in so many
mm.
pressers. So
I
I
think
think
Ron,
it's
yeah.
I think they're up there. I think
Yeah.
Raynell Jones could be up there too, just for
Hmm.
how often I've seen her in ads and things. But I do think it's Ronica.
Yeah.
And then finally, Vegas. Who you got?
Finally, Vegas.
Hmm.
Alicia?
I was thinking Alicia or potentially Berkeley, because
It would
Berkeley's a
fit your theory.
hometown. My
Yeah.
my full theory, yes. Only Grand Rapids was the one that didn't appeal to my theory, but Berkeley is a hometown Vegas person.
Mm-hmm.
But Alicia is Alicia.
But Alicia is Alicia. I mean, if we're going on the like Olympic, we gotta
Mm-hmm.
keep our Olympic gals to compete
Indeed.
with love.
Indeed. Okay,
Um,
that was our contract speculation. We have no information on that. So everything you just heard was
was
completely
just us goofing.
us
Yeah,
goofing,
just goofing.
Just
You
some
just
know.
silly
shooting the
goofs.
shit. All right, cool. So now we're going to do our top two for each position. And the thing is, probably a bunch of those 175 people are
Yeah.
going to be there. But that just means we can say them real quick.
My list was not, maybe not. I know we said we are going to do the best, but I actually just chose who I am excited to see.
That's great. I like that. Okay, so kind of a switch. We've all brought to the table different two that we want to talk about.
Different
Yeah.
interpretations of the prompt. That
Exactly.
was very clear.
No,
It's
no,
it's
it's
so
okay.
English, student.
No, it's fine. It's good.
Uh,
So I'm going to talk about, I think mine is my top two for each position. Kelly, what
okay.
would you say yours is?
Mine is my people I'm
We
excited to
can
see. People I'm excited
There,
to
say
see.
that.
Who
People
yeah.
cares?
you would be most excited to go watch.
Sure.
People you, listener, should go watch in person.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ian, what's yours?
Mine
Transfers.
is just it's faces in new places. So
Oh,
it's players we
Oh,
may have known from last year
I
that have
love a
moved
rhyming
to new
scheme.
teams.
all right. I have a couple faces in new places that I'll talk about. Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. So, my top two liberos in this league are going to be Morgan Hens out of Atlanta, and I'm going to say Camila Gomez on Omaha. That's a face in a new place. She was in Grand Rapids last year. She's in Omaha this year. I think Morgan Hens is really easy to put in that camp.
Yeah.
She was the only player last year in contention for an Olympic roster. People love, the welcome to Hentsville phrase. And it's accurate that they made that up because when you're
Yeah.
in Hentsville, you won't be getting a kill.
And
I made
still,
that up.
I also had Morgan Hens as mine, and that was more of a yes, obviously the best. I'm excited to see. And then I hope that Elena Scott gets to play. That's all.
Mm.
Wow.
Just a little bit.
Wow. You
Hope.
think she's going to take Collie Murr's spot, huh?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm like looking at this thing and I'm like, who are these people? I forget.
That is
And
so on brand for you,
I
Kelly.
know. But the thing is like the NCAA stuff just happened and I'm like, Elena Scott, I remember her.
Oh, great.
So
Okay.
that's the pattern that's in my list.
All right, great to know. I just want to mention that the reason I said Camila Gomez is that she didn't get as much playing time on Grand Rapids last year. She did play at the very end of the season, and I was so impressed by her. And every time I saw her, I said, "Where has she been all year?"
And she
And
was playing because that was instead of Sarah Sponsel, right? Yeah.
that's right. And I think that she's going to get to shine as a
Yeah.
supernova. So I'm very excited about that. Ian, do your liberos.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's hear about
So
it.
faces in new places. Libero edition. First, Sarah Sponsel, who we talked about up and down year, but going from the Rise to the San Diego Mojo. As a historically beach volleyball player, I think there's some there's some power that can be drawn
She's being drawn to the beach.
from the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the general mojo of the town, if you will, the vibe of the place. Other face in new place, Kendall White at the Vegas Thrill this year. There's the theme of many teams have gone to try and take a little piece of the championship team that was the Omaha Supernovas last year. A little bit of that on the team. And for Vegas, that's Kendall White. I think last year she was fifth in the entire league in digs, almost 300 of them.
Hmm.
Love it. Okay, setters. My two top setters are Molly Monsery of the Atlanta Vibe, and I picked August Raskey
Mhm.
All right.
of the Grand Rapids
That was
Rise.
the same thing that I put.
Same as yours, friend of the pod, August Raskey. I don't feel got a chance to shine. It's the same situation in San Diego last year behind Nutsar Tomcom. I think she's going to start on Rise, and we're going to get to see her really come into her own. I'm so excited to see that lefty attack. That's all I
Yeah.
want.
I did have the same ones, but I'm also excited to see like the the San Diego news setter, just because like TomCom was such a presence on that team, and they really were
Hmm.
gelling, and so I'm just interested to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, by the end of the year, that was
Hmm.
a gel situation. And it was
Yeah.
lacking at the beginning.
Yes.
There was no gel.
Yeah.
Ian?
Tell us about your faces in new places or whatever.
First, um, we may have mentioned her before. Sydney Hilly is a face in a new place, and the new
Hmm.
place is new to the league, and it's the Indy Ignite. Again, another piece of Omaha going somewhere else. I mean, Indy seems pretty good, but who knows? It's their first year in the league, so who can say, given
Who
that
can
these
say?
other teams are in their second whole year in the league, so it's a pretty large disadvantage. Yeah, I know Nikki can take or leave assists sometimes, but she ended up still being seventh in the league in assists last year and sixth in assists per set. So, yeah, that'll be fun. And then the other is Wilma Rivera. She's a Columbus Fury, starting a theme on my list of Valkyries going to Ohio. So last year, second in aces in the league and fifth in assists. So pretty nasty year. And her and Tori Stringer will be setting for that team, so it should be fun.
Nice.
Beautiful. I love Wilma. Her serve is incredible. I do hope that she gets to play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her and Tori gonna duke it out. Tori just keeps being in places where she has to duke it out with another setter. Outside hitters. Here's who I picked. I think that this is my more unexpected duo so far. I think I've been very obvious so far. But for outside hitters, my two favorites for this year that I'm most excited to see are Courtney Schwann on Orlando. You may remember Courtney from the end of last season. She joined the league toward the end of the year after she finished abroad. And I just felt that she really made an impact. The problem was that the rest of the team was falling apart around her.
Mm.
But she herself, phenomenal back row player, so athletic, and I really liked what she had going on. So I'm really excited to see her. She's back with the Orlando Valkyries from the beginning this year, and I think that that's going to give her a
Yeah.
really good opportunity. And then the second outside that I listed, I know it should have probably been Leah Edmond, but we've already talked a lot about Leah Edmond. And so it could be Leah Edmond. But then I said, no, I'm going to pick someone interesting. And I want to see Charity Looper.
I have her down.
What? I guess I wasn't interesting at all.
Sorry.
Or no, we
Well,
have the same
again,
brain. We have the same,
again,
it's the same brain.
I mean, again, like
That's who you'd remember
that's
because you don't know
she
anybody.
just played like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, the thing about Charity Looper is that I think that she's going to get the start. I think it's going to be her and Hannah Maddox. This is what I hope. I mean, do I actually think
Wow.
that's going to happen? I'm not sure. But I do think that Charity Looper is probably the rookie with the best shot at making an immediate impact on the team. I love her vibe so much. I felt that she was such a firecracker at Louisville. And
Hmm.
I think that she is going into a situation where she can make an impact.
I think she's just gonna grow in
Hmm.
like pro volleyball. So
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Cool. Also,
Agree
I
with that.
want to see her keep doing her celebration, which is to put a crown on her head as she walks away from getting a kill. It's amazing.
I'm just gonna say my other pick is just Brooke and Leah and Reagan, all of them.
Those names that I think I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it.
great. So just all of them.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Just
Great.
one amalgamation of previous outside hitter. It's like they get so much credit. We don't need to.
Oh, thank you.
Let's move
Music to
along.
my ears, Kelly.
Let's move
I love
along.
to hear that.
We'll
Well,
spend the
Ian, what do
rest
you
of the
got?
year. All right. I guess I have three
Places
because,
and new
yeah.
faces. Let's see
Yeah,
here.
there are places with new
Oh,
faces,
right.
and one of them is Reagan Cooper, but that's an honorable mention because I figured one of you guys were going to talk about Reagan Cooper, but whatever.
I believe she was in my
She
amalgamation.
was in the large
Super
list
person.
of, yeah, so Betty Saztol in the Supernovas roster,
Yeah.
Reagan going there. Should be fun to watch. Other two. First, Jill Gillen from the Valks last year, Columbus Fury, along with Wilma, making that move together to the Fury. So bring a little unit. We'll see how that goes. And then second, Lecator member Monet going to the
Mm.
Indie Ignite as well. I'm gonna call him the Igni a
Igni.
lot.
Igni. I like
That's gonna
that.
happen. But yeah, Lecator also going with a former teammate, Grace Cleveland. from the vibe to the ignite.
All right, opposites. I picked Brittany Abercrombie here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a little bit obvious. I
Mm-hmm.
do think she's going to get the start in Orlando, coming off of her Athletes Unlimited championship win. I think that one's a big get. Hats off to Amy Polly there. I
Yep.
also picked another opposite who has a pretty great pro career so far. So a vet, Sheridan Atkinson on Grand Rapids.
Mm.
I think that she is going to be able to contribute. Can she replace Amelia Dimitrova? Only time will tell.
Mm.
But I think that's a really good one-to-one, attempt to put in a veteran with some really good experience, the adult in the room, perhaps. Those are my top two.
Well, I had Brittany, and then Morgan Lewis, friend of the pod.
Ah, indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
my
it.
two, both Mojo opposites that left Willow Johnson going to Vegas this year and Morgan Lewis going to Columbus. So yeah, I don't know.
I
There
think
wasn't a lot
Willow's gonna
of
big deal in Vegas.
yeah.
Yeah. Do we think that Merritt Beeson's gonna get playing time?
It's her or Aiko Jones.
Yeah.
So yes, I do think
Yeah.
that they'll probably bounce. It'll be back and forth, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's so funny because Atlanta's on the opposite side for hitters, only two. Middles and outsides, though, they're long.
Yeah.
They have so many. So yeah, I mean, I think there will be a certain flashiness in the first round, first pick of the
Yeah.
draft to
Yeah.
get in
Good
the
point.
game.
You're right.
I do really like Aiko Jones, like as a human. I'm
Mm.
excited. I hope that she plays a little bit and we can see what she's got. Yeah, I think they'll be in. Okay, finally the middle blockers. I picked two people that I think are making a lot of money, and that's Veronica Stone in San Diego and Kaz Brown in Orlando. So both of these middles are going to be need to be connecting with new setters, which is something I
Mm.
want to talk more about later. But if they can figure that out in the time at preseason that they've had, I do think that they will be able to make an impact right away. And I think that they will be very strong, probably all season long. I'm confident in them. Kelly, who you got?
I have Berkeley Oblad and Shelley Fanning.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
You do
enjoyed
like Shelly.
I
You've always
do.
liked
I
Shelly.
have enjoyed watching them last year,
What
both
is it about
players.
Shelly, Kelly? Could it be the rhyming
Sounds a lot
factor?
like
The
Kelly.
Shelley and Kelly. No, I just like her vibe on the court.
Mm.
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
You know what? I thought that Atlanta was kind of weird for naming their team vibe, but we say it all the fucking time
No, we really
when we are
do.
not
I know.
referencing their team. It's
I
crazy.
know.
And
Maybe.
it's
Yeah.
actually a really good name. Anyway,
All right, great. Ian, what do you got?
actually, one of my faces and new places connected to kind of the Shelley Fanning middle blocker area is Reagan Pittman, who is now in San Diego, kind of stuck in a giant group of really good middle blockers last year.
Hmm.
Gets to go to San Diego in another group of really good blockers. So, but a slightly smaller group, I think, this year. So just interested to see how that works out with more sets. And then also Allison Bastianelli is going to Grand
Mm.
Rapids this year, moving from the Mojo as well. But that's a Bastianelli, Maren Grote, two in the middle. So that seems pretty good.
Hmm.
I did hear that Ali Bastianelli didn't show up to the scrimmage the weekend
Hold
before
out.
season, so I hope that she's not injured,
Yeah.
but we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'm
She
excited
was
about
one
her
of the
moving over
few.
there.
I don't remember how many women last year had over a block a set, but it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
very many, and she
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
I like it. I like it, Picasso. All right. Which rookie do we think is going to make the biggest impact? We already talked about Charity Looper. Is
hmm.
there any other? We talked a little bit about Merritt Beeson, who we think will probably be able to get on the floor this year.
Hmm.
I think something that is a little bit surprising to me is that Omaha, who had so many signings in the offseason, I think they were only second to Atlanta in terms of the signing period, confirmed players. They have chosen to go all in on their draft picks. They're almost building a team around them, and they have kept all of them. Many of them played for Nebraska and Creighton, but they have waived some veterans to make space for them. And so either
Mm.
they're real good or it's a concerted effort to bring more hometown players into that team and to hopefully maybe Bird is trying to build a team around them for the future, which is cool. Not a lot of pro volleyball teams are thinking long term,
Mm-hmm.
even abroad. I'm saying it's tends to be, at least with Americans, in 1 year out the next. I have hardly seen on Volleybox, and obviously I'm like learning more about this as learning more about pro internationally as we do this podcast. But when I look on Volleybox and I see where players have been, it's a different team every year. I don't think I've ever seen someone stay for two. And sometimes
Hmm.
it's different countries. So that is kind of a novel idea to keep
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 rookies and try to keep them somewhere for a longer term in their career. It's kind of cool, but will it pay off in this first year? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was gonna point out just the Fury because we talk a lot about hitters, and they have four, and half of them are rookies. So it seems like there will be a lot of minutes there at least.
Yep, Columbus, there was no question mark with Columbus keeping all of their draft picks. They needed them to make a
Yeah.
full squad. So I do think that they'll be in the mix and potentially making an impact early. I think that that was obvious, always the plan.
Yeah, they definitely went under the draft. I mean, I think their two hitters they drafted were very close together in terms of when they drafted them, so they were obviously filling a need that they felt they had on the roster.
Yep. The last two I'll mention, Kelly, with your watching of so much NCAA volleyball, Cameron Hanna, Penn State.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
She's on Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out. That's a Chicago girl. So I'm a big fan. Happy to see her in the league. And then also, I'm as a setter, fan of setters. I really love Mia Tuaniga. She just signed with Atlanta. I'm a little bit worried she'll get annoyed being behind Marley,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe she'll learn some good things from coach, from Marley, from generally playing, and we'll see her long term. Because I just don't know who takes Marley's spot from Marley.
Yeah. We'll
Anybody.
see.
That's how I feel about that.
I'm also interested if Allie Battenhurst, Horst, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, if she gets any playing time. She played for Nebraska and then transferred to USC. Honestly, I just get served a lot of her TikToks.
Uh-huh.
And she's so excited.
I know.
And I just, hope she has a good time.
Okay, biggest question marks for me and what I'm most excited and going to be paying attention to in the first week. The Orlando setters. I think that Orlando looks great, but their setters are the question mark for me. I think that
Hmm.
they're going to need to be huge contributors to the ultimate success of Orlando. I think the team has the biggest opportunity to like make a big difference in their record from last year to this year and to improve on that record. But I haven't seen either of the Orlando setters play enough to be able to tell if they can make or break what everybody else has going on. I assume they're good. But that's who I'm going to be paying attention to. Those setters are Pornpan Guadapard out of Thailand and Hannah Pukis, who we know was on Vegas Thrill last year, partially, I think, on the practice squad, also had some things around with injuries. Ultimately, we heard that she asked to be waived. She wasn't liking it over there. But Amy Pauley did say she's really excited to work with them. So I think that that could be interesting. Obviously, in pure me fashion, my second biggest question mark is the San Diego setter. So, Da Young Lee, the alleged bully, only started playing in preseason kind of recently. Like she didn't get to town until a few weeks in. So then I'm like, is that going to be another slow connection situation like last
Right.
year? Because
Yep.
San Diego's preseason didn't start until after everybody else's. So I'm worried. But that is something I will be paying a lot of attention to. What are your question marks, Kelly?
I don't know. I mean, it's like I just overall, I think like Fury. I'm just like, what are they gonna? It's not indie, so it's not a new team. It's like a team that's already been around. So we have this foundation of like what we've come to expect, which I guess is not that much because they did not do so well in the last season, and it's just like it's a little frustrating to
Hmm.
watch, and I'm scared.
I I'm with you.
Yeah, so I guess I don't really have people. I mean, I agree with you about like the Mojo Setter. So, but that's my biggest, that's like the blaring thing in this whole season. I'm just like, we'll see what happens.
Ian, question marks?
My question marks for the league outside of Omaha. So, like, how will the general attendance be? How will they keep up in season two? Just how will the league feel this year? That's my number one question watching it. There's a few more on TV, I guess, this year. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. Just the general coverage of the league. And then I've obviously, we've talked about Indy a lot, but I'm excited to see them, new team in the league, and they seem pretty good. And, I'm excited to watch them, but who knows? I'm testing my 1 year of podcast knowledge. Like if they're
Hmm.
not good, then I have to go back to the drawing board and reassess some hard-won feelings I have, you know? So
Everything you know. You need to
it's
question
tough.
everything you know.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's interesting that you say that you're most, would you say that you're most excited about, like, do you think Indy's top, top, top?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that like last year there really wasn't, for most of the season there wasn't a ton of separation. They were all beating each other and then losing to each other the next time they played. So I
The
think it'll be a lot
parody.
of that this year. Yeah, a lot more parity again.
Sure. Well, here's my top four.
Yep.
I've got Atlanta, Orlando, Omaha, and Vegas.
Yes.
So I would have put Omaha higher until they did the rookie parade. I think
I
it's funny that we just always assume Atlanta's going to be amazing. But when you have, how many teams did you play on, Kelly, where it was like, have a good libero, a good setter, and one hitter, and you can kind of,
yeah.
you
And
can kind
and
of make it work.
and they just had so many people to choose from. Like it was
Yes.
hard. It's hard for them to not just have cream of the crop.
Yeah.
I think I agree with
My four?
your four. I was like before I really looked at the rosters and just going off of vibes,
Uh-huh.
I was thinking that Indy would be in my top four, but I am not so sure. When I look at, yeah, the rookie, honestly, their outside hitting situation could be hit or miss,
Do
pun
you mean, who do you
intended.
mean? Indy?
Yeah, I just
No, I agree.
like I don't see anyone kind of ignoring the rookies because rookies can just be so temperamental. That sounds like that it's a problem with their actual temperament. But I mean, they're new. They don't,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that they might struggle with outside hitters and finding their two that are going to lead, like as opposed to Atlanta Vibe will always have Leah,
Hmm.
right? Something like that. So I think I agree with you. I don't know. I don't really know about the order, but those are the teams.
I just
Yeah.
really like Vegas for the mix of returners and
Yes.
impactful newbies.
Yes. And I think the people that they got as transferred, like, or what are we calling them?
Yeah, no,
Transfer?
transfers. Mhm.
Yeah. I think it's gonna work really well for them.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Did
Ian.
either of you have the rise in there?
No, and I don't
No.
think they're going to be very good.
I was thinking that's
Yeah.
tough.
I mean,
I
I
just,
agree.
I
I
struggle to see. Okay, I think Valeria Leone and August Rasky are going to be a wonderful 1-2 punch. But
yeah.
from there, there
Yeah.
are too many people who aren't standing out to me
Yeah.
as
It's a similar thing to Indy, I think,
yes. But
in my
that does
mind.
mean that there's less pressure on one person to get it done. And I do think we could end up being a little bit surprised, like we were last year.
Yeah. True.
But it remains to be seen.
Remains to
It
be
does
seen.
remain to be seen. Indeed.
Do you have
But my
any
four, I
other?
think,
Okay, yeah.
are going to be Omaha, Atlanta, and then I'm going to throw in Orlando. and we're just gonna go with it and say Indy. I'm just doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Putting them in.
All right. Get him in
I
there.
believe.
You see, I think if I were to pick Indy, I would think I would have swapped them. No, I would think I would have swapped them out for Orlando. So I think I would have said Vibe, Indy, Omaha, Vegas.
Yeah, I
Not
think
in that
I
order.
mean,
No, sure.
Anyway,
yeah,
I think we're all looking at the similar
Factors.
Atlanta, maybe Indy, Omaha, Orlando, Vegas.
yeah. And I reserve the right to, at the end of the season, pick whatever team won and say that I always knew they
Yeah,
were gonna
of
win.
course. Of course.
Like,
That's
Of
right.
course.
because honestly, I believe in all 8 teams and their ability to win the championship. And at the end, one is gonna win.
One,
So I
one
will
will
be
And
win.
you know who
correct.
will have said that? Ian.
Me,
Ian.
right now. Remember this day that I said one of these teams we've talked about today will win the championship of the PVF.
Wow.
Remember
That's
it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
really is. Really optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, week 1 starts. Season 2 of the PVF starts. For the first time in PVF history,
There's a
There's
the
a
season
second
second
two.
season will begin.
Incredible.
Oh my God. And season two of Court Captains.
Oh, hell yeah.
Look at us.
Wow.
Oh. All right, well, Thursday, January 9th, you better be seated for the season 2 opener. It will be San Diego Mojo at Orlando Valkyries. That will be on Fox Sports 2.
Two.
So, unfortunately, you won't see me in the YouTube chat for that one, but I'll see you
Go in
on
the
Friday.
yeah, hop in the friggin' Reddit
The
thread or
Reddit
whatever.
match thread. Yep, maybe I'll do that. I could do that.
I know you can't stay away, Nikki.
I can't
You'll be
stay
wanting to talk
away
volleyball with people.
from the typing. Friday, January 10th, we have Atlanta Vibe at Omaha Supernovas
Big game.
and Grand Rapids Rise at Vegas Thrill. I wonder, do you think that Atlanta and Omaha will always try to have their opener with each other? Because that was what it was
Historical
last
rivalry.
year. I think so.
Maybe.
I like it.
Oh, that gym's gonna
Okay.
be electric.
Electric at Omaha. Love it. Saturday, January 11th, it'll be Mojo at Columbus Fury. So I see we've got an on off
Interesting.
on for Mojo to start. Then after that, nope, same time, will be Orlando Valkyries at Indy Ignite. So another on off on for Orlando. Finally, the last games of week 1, Sunday, January 12th, Omaha Supernovas will be going over to the Grand Rapids Rise. And Kelly and I will see you there.
Whoa.
Ooh, little
Little day
spoiler.
trip.
Little
Yeah.
Little day
little
trip.
teaser.
I'll have to video conference in.
You will have you on FaceTime. And then after that, the Atlanta Vibe will be at the Vegas Thrill. So, 7 matches for week 1.
Big
A couple of teams playing twice, but everybody will play.
What a difference from last year.
Truly. Thank you, PVF. Let's take this moment to say thank you for thinking about the schedule in that way
Sure.
that we requested nicely,
Yes.
kindly. We said please.
Yes. I mean, you do have Grand Rapids having to travel from Vegas back to Grand Rapids.
On the on off on.
Yeah, that's a little.
No, those are tough. That's a regional
turnaround.
airport,
Yeah, and you're going from the west to the east.
No, you're right. That's not great. Okay,
But
I
hey,
take
you
it
know
back.
what? You know what? It's
You know what?
incremental progress. Okay.
Incremental progress. There will be more weekend games, which means guess who's not going to be going to any Friday night basketball games this year? It's Kelly, because she'll be watching the PVF instead.
Yeah.
What? Friday night basketball games.
That was a throwback to a
Oh.
callback to your high school sadness that you had to practice on Fridays.
I was like, are like basketball games
The heck?
generally on Fridays?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Obviously, everybody knows Friday is the
In
basketball
high school,
night.
yes, they are on Fridays.
Yeah, Kelly,
Yeah.
so you'll be locked in to
Locked
YouTube
in,
with me.
of course.
So they'll miss you at all those high school basketball games.
I
you were
wouldn't
going to.
dream of it any other way.
Hell yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to Court Captain's Volleyball Podcast. Please, if you haven't yet, give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you like what you're hearing, support small podcasts. And if you don't like what you're hearing, then please just go ahead and mind your business. Follow us on Instagram at Court Captains Pod and email us your questions or comments at courtcaptainspod@gmail.com.
And don't forget to be the captain of your own court.
Thanks. Happy
Goodbye.
opening day.
Woo.